Very good afternoon to all of you. It's me Ashif. Welcome to Learning Radius. Welcome to Learning Radius Current Affairs related to international relations and international issues. In today's discussion, we'll be discussing 10 topics, and the 10 topics are INS Jalshwa rice at port of Anjum in Comoros with 1,000 metric tons of rice, India-Sweden virtual summit, ADB India signs to expand horticulture in Himachal Pradesh, ADB India signed to enhance power generation capacity in Assam. First India-Bahrain joint working group meeting in the field of renewable energy. The UK-Spain pact. The Spain-UK post-Brexit deal. India-EU agreed to further deepen bilateral trade and investment relationship. UK abolishes Tambon tax on menstrual products. US moves to rejoin UN Right Council. So 10 topics what we are going to discuss today is one is US moves to rejoin UN Rights Council, UK abolishes Tambon tax on menstrual products, India-EU agree to further deepen bilateral trade and investment relationship, the Spain-UK post-Brexit deal, the UK-Spain pact, first India-Bahrain joint working group meeting in the field of renewable energy, ADB India signed to enhance power generation capacity in Assam, ADB India signed to expand horticulture in Himachal Pradesh, India-Sweden virtual summit, INS Jalshwa arrive at port of Anjum in Comoros with 1,000 metric tons of rice. So these are the 10 topics what we are going to discuss in today's video. And the first topic, INS Jalshwa arrives at port of Anjum in Comoros with 1,000 metric tons of rice. Indian Navy ship Jalshwa arrived at port of Anjum in Comoros with 1,000 metric tons of rice. So where is Comoros? Where is this particular port? The geography behind that, UPSC can ask an indirect question right from the geography related to Comoros or geography related to that particular port. It will be received by Foreign Minister of Comoros, Dalkar Kamal, in a ceremony tomorrow. Ambassador of India to Comoros, Abeke said, the arrival of Indian Navy ship Jalshwa with 1,000 metric tons of rice highlights the continuity in the exemplary ties between India and Comoros within the framework of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision of Sagar security and growth for all in the Indian Ocean region. So Sagar should be clear in your mind. In my earlier video, I conveyed what is Sagar is about, what is the relevance of Sagar. At the same time, I conveyed what is Sagar, what is Mission Sagar 1, what is Mission Sagar 2, and what was the objective of Sagar, what is the objective of Mission Sagar, and Mission Sagar 2 also explained in the earlier video. Watch the video and get a complete understanding. Now here it is different, that is INS Jalshwa arrives at the port of Anjum in Comoros with 1,000 metric tons of rice. A virtual gate to the Union of Comoros, a sovereign island nation in the Indian Ocean east of Mozambique, off the east coast of African continent and the west coast of northern tip of Madagascar. So that is about the what's the location geographically about Comoros. So there should be clarity regarding the basic fundamentals related to Comoros as an island, the population, the geography, and the area, the density. There should be clarity because India is having good relationship with Comoros as a country. Next one is India-Sweden virtual summit. Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi and Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Sweden, His Excellency Stefan Löfven, held a virtual summit where they discussed bilateral issues and other regional and multilateral issues of mutual interest. The Prime Minister fondly recalled his 2018 visit to Sweden for the first India-Nordic summit and India visit of Their Majestic the King and Queen of Sweden in December 2019. So India-Sweden virtual summit, at the same time India-Nordic summit. So India-Nordic summit is significant, at the same time India-Sweden virtual summit, the relationship and the fundamentals related to that is important. Both the leaders underlined that the long-standing close relation between India and Sweden were based on shared values of democracy, rule of law, pluralism, equality, freedom of speech, and respect for human rights. They reaffirmed their strong commitment to work for multilateralism, rules-based international order, counter-terrorism, and peace and security. They also acknowledged the growing salience of India's partnership with the European Union and the European Union countries as such. So the two leaders reviewed the extensive ongoing engagement between India and Sweden and expressed satisfaction at the implementation of the Joint Action Plan and Joint Innovation Partnership agreed during Prime Minister Modi's visit to Sweden in 2018. So the basic behind this particular current affairs, Joint Action Plan and Joint Innovation Partnership agreed during Prime Minister Modi's visit to Sweden in 2018. they explored avenues of further diversifying the themes under the rubric of this partnership. Prime Minister Modi welcomed Sweden's decision to join the International Solar Alliance. The leaders also noted the growing membership of the India-Sweden Joint Initiative, the Leadership Group of Industry Transition, that is LEAD IT, that was launched during the UN Climate Action Summit in September 2019 in New York. So again, another two important GK that is related to International Solar Alliance. In detail, I explained what is International Solar Alliance in the earlier discussion. At the same time, a new term that is LEAD IT. And LEAD IT is nothing but a leadership group of industry transition. So IT stands for industry transition. So the leaders also noted the growing membership of India-Sweden Joint Initiative, the leadership group of industry transition, that is LEAD IT or LEAD IT, you can read it in that particular manner, and LEAD IT, that was launched during UN Climate Action Summit in September 2019 in New York. The two leaders also discussed the COVID-19 situation, including the vaccination drive, and stressed the need for vaccine equity by providing urgent and affordable access to vaccine across all nations. Next one is ADB India signed to expand horticulture in Himachal Pradesh. Asian Development Bank and the Government of India on 30th December 2020 signed a $10 million project readiness financing PRF, that is project readiness financing, to help finance piloting activities and design and capacity building for an ensuing project that aimed to expand horticulture production and farm household income in the hill state of Himachal Pradesh. So ADB India signed to expand horticulture in Himachal Pradesh. Asian Development Bank and the Government of India on 30th December 2020 signed a $10 million project readiness financing PRF to help finance piloting activities and design and capacity building for an ensuing project that aimed to expand horticulture production and farm household income in the hill state of Himachal Pradesh. The signatory of PRF for Himachal Subtropical Horticulture, Irrigation and Value Addition Readiness Project were Dr. C.S. Mahapatra, Additional Secretary, Department of Economic Affairs in the Ministry of Finance, who signed for the Government of India, and Mr. Ho Ju Jeong, Officer in charge of ADB India Resident Mission, who signed for ADB. So here the discussion is ADB India signed to expand horticulture in Himachal Pradesh. So basic fundamentals related to horticulture as a field should be clear. ADB as an organization, ADB as a bank should be very clear. And recently this discussion, that is ADB and India signed to expand horticulture in Himachal Pradesh. So that is a current affair too. So Himachal Pradesh and ADB's relationship should be clear in your mind. Now the next discussion is ADB India signed to enhance power generation capacity in Assam. So one is Himachal Pradesh horticulture, ADB and Assam, here it is related to power generation. ADB India given to enhance power generation capacity in Assam. Asian Development Bank and the Government of India on 30th December 2020 signed $231 million loan to augment electricity generation capacity in the state of Assam through construction of a 120 megawatt hydroelectric power plant that will enhance availability of electricity for household. So that is ADB India signed to enhance power generation capacity in Assam, and the discussion is ADB and the Government of India on 30th December 2020 signed $231 million loan to augment electricity generation capacity in the state of Assam through construction of a 120 megawatt hydroelectric power plant that will enhance availability of electricity for household. Now, in connection with that, this is the third triangle loan for the ongoing Assam Power Sector Investment Program that was approved by ADB Board in July 2014. The program, including its two previous tranches, focuses on enhancing capacity and efficiency of the energy generation and distribution system in Assam to improve electricity service to end users. So that's related to ADB and India, ADB and Assam, and it is related to power generation. Next discussion is on first India-Bahrain joint working group meeting in the field of renewable energy. The first meeting of the joint working group in the field of renewable energy between India and Kingdom of Bahrain held yesterday in virtual format. That was the discussion in the newspaper. So the first India-Bahrain joint working group meeting in the field of renewable energy, the first meeting of the joint working group in the field of renewable energy between India and Kingdom of Bahrain held in virtual format. His Excellency Dr. Abdul Hussain bin Ali Mirza, President of Sustainable Energy Authority led by the Bahraini delegation, The Indian delegation was led by His Excellency Mr. Dinesh Dayanand Jagdale, Joint Secretary Minister of New and Renewable Energy. So Sri Piyush Goyal, Piyush Srivastava, Ambassador of India to the Kingdom of Bahrain, also participated in the meeting. So it is Piyush Srivastava, Ambassador of India to the Kingdom of Bahrain, also participated in the meeting. When you look into UPSC, since the discussion is very, very important, that's why I'm mentioning the name, but in UPSC point of view, they hardly ask the persons related to that and who signed in which all personalities were related to that UPSC hardly asks. That is not that significant. But I read it because you should understand the significant personalities between India and that country, or between India and Bahrain, were there in order to sign this particular discussion. So that's why I'm reading the significant personalities behind. So always you can see either ambassadors or secretary level officers or the minister or the prime minister itself is into discussions in connection with India and the world relationships. So here the first India and Bahrain joint working group meeting in the field of renewable energy, that's very, very important. A memorandum of understanding between India and Bahrain was signed in July 2018 for promoting bilateral cooperation in the field of renewable energy. The meeting took place in a cordial and friendly atmosphere. It was agreed to hold next round of JWG meeting at a mutually convenient dates, which will be decided through diplomatic channels. The next topic of discussion is the UK-Spain Pact. Hours before the Brexit transition period ended on New Year's Eve, Spain announced it had struck a deal with the UK to maintain free movement to and from Gibraltar, a small portion of land on the southern tip of the Iberian Peninsula that Britain controls but Spain claimed as it is on. So Spain claimed as its own. So here UK-Spain Pact, at the same time, two location as such is in discussion. One is Iberian Peninsula, which we know, at the same time the Gibraltar. So there is a tussle between Spain and UK in connection with that particular location. So hours before Brexit transition period ended on New Year's Eve, Spain announced it had struck a deal with the UK to maintain free movement to and from Gibraltar, a small portion of land on the southern tip of Iberian Peninsula that Britain controls but Spain claims as its own. Officially remaining a British overseas territory, Gibraltar will now be part of Schengen zone and follow European Union rules, thus ensuring that a hard border does not separate it from rest of Europe. So there's an issue between UK, at the same time Spain, at the same time there is an issue in connection with Brexit, and that issue as such is over Iberian Peninsula, that is issue is specifically over Gibraltar. From UPSC point of view, you should have an understanding what's the issue. More than that, Iberian Peninsula, the geography should be clear. Gibraltar, the geography should be there, and UPSC can ask questions related to the fundamental geography related, the fundamentals related to Gibraltar and Iberian Peninsula. Gibraltar with an area of just 6.8 square kilometer. Once again, Gibraltar with an area of just 6.8 square kilometer and population of around 34,000 people has been subject of intense dispute between Spain and Britain for centuries. So that's the issue, and that's the topic of discussion. The Gibraltar with an area of just 6.8 square kilometer and a population of around 34,000 people has been the subject of intense dispute between Spain and Britain for centuries. This is mainly because of its strategic location. Even if it is 6.8 square kilometer, it is very, very, very important because of its strategic positioning. The territory, which is connected to Spain by a small strip of land and surrounded by sea on three sides, serves as the only opening from Atlantic Ocean into the Mediterranean Sea. So that's the relevance of Strait Gibraltar. That is the only opening from the Atlantic Ocean into the Mediterranean Sea, making it a key location on the shortest sea route between Europe and Asia via the Suez Canal. So that is the relevance of Gibraltar. Once again, this is a key location because it is the shortest sea route between Europe and Asia via Suez Canal. Gibraltar fell into British hands after a war in 1730 and has since remained with British despite several attempts by Spain to retake. And that's the history behind Gibraltar, and try to have a clarity regarding the Iberian Peninsula, Gibraltar, the UK's question and the Spain's question in connection with this particular Iberian Peninsula in that the point Gibraltar, which is a very, very significant strategic location. Next point of discussion is about Spain-UK post-Brexit deal. The result of 2016 Brexit referendum gave rise to the possibility of a hard border coming up between Gibraltar and the rest of Europe, despite 96% of the vote in Gibraltar being in favor of remaining in the EU. The Spain-UK post-Brexit deal, I told the history before, just in the last topic. Gibraltarians mainly voted remain because the territory economies depend on an open border with Spain, which sends over 15,000 workers and 200 trucks there daily. So the result of 2016 Brexit referendum gave rise to the possibility of a hard border coming up between Gibraltar and the rest of Europe, despite 96% of the vote in Gibraltar being in favor of remaining in EU. So here again, as like I mentioned, the discussion as such is about Gibraltar. There is very high possibility of getting a question in preliminary examination regarding the geography of Gibraltar or geography of Suez Canal or geography of Atlantic and Mediterranean or the geography of Iberian Peninsula in connection with a statement. Next is India European Union agreed to further deepen bilateral trade and investment relationship. Again, India and European Union is into discussion. India and European Union have agreed to further deepen bilateral trade and investment relationship in the first India-EU high-level dialogue on trade and investment. So, high-level dialogue on trade and investment, Commerce and Industry Minister Sri Piyush Goyal and the European Union Executive Vice President and Trade Commissioner Valdis Dombrovskis yesterday co-chaired the first India-EU dialogue. So, in the newspaper it came in that particular manner. So, here we have to understand they co-chaired the first India-EU dialogue, that is Sri Piyush Goyal, at the same time European Union Executive Vice President and Trade Commissioner Valdis Dombrovskis co-chaired the first India-European Union dialogue. The 15th India-European Union Leaders Summit held in July last year had committed to establish this particular dialogue. So UPSC can ask questions related to statements related to India-European Union dialogue, and they can frame statements related to India-European Union India-European Union relationship also. So the ministers emphasized the importance of global cooperation and solidarity in a post-COVID-19 era. They also agreed to meet within the next 3 months to reach a consensus on a host of bilateral trade and investment cooperation issues such as bilateral regulatory dialogue and an India-European Union multilateral dialogue. Next point of discussion is UK abolishes tampon tax on menstrual products. The UK has abolished the 5% rate of value-added tax on menstrual product known as the tampon tax, meaning that there will no longer be VAT on period products from January 1 onwards. So the UPSC can ask the term TAMPON, that is tampon or tampon tax, meaning there will no longer be VAT on periods product from January 1 onwards. The statement further said that the move honors the government commitment to scrap the tax and is a part of wider strategy to make sanitary products affordable and available for all women. So that is the objective, that is to make sanitary products affordable and available for all women. So that is about the discussion. Globally, just a handful of countries have zero tax added to sanitary products, including Canada, India, Australia, Kenya, and some US states. So once again, globally, very few countries have zero tax added to sanitary products. One is India, that is Canada, India, Australia, Kenya, and some US states as such. Germany also voted to reduce its tax rate of all feminine hygiene products after deeming them to be a daily necessity, not a luxury. Now that discussion is going on. Scotland became the first country in the world to allow free and universal access to menstrual products, including tampon tax and pads in public facilities in November 2020. So there is another discussion. Scotland became the first country in the world to allow free and universal access to menstrual products. So that is another discussion. So that's about the tax related to sanitary products. At the same time, the term, as like I mentioned, tampon tax as such is significant. Next point is about US moves to rejoin UN Right Council. So the last topic of discussion is United States of America moves to rejoin UN Right Council. The Biden administration is set to announce this week that it will re-engage with much maligned UN Human Rights Council that former President Donald Trump withdrew from almost 3 years ago, US officials said. So again, UN Rights Council, that is in discussion, that is Human Rights Council as it is in discussion. What is Human Rights Council is about, what's the objective of Human Rights Council, there should be a clarity. Now the discussion is only this much. The Biden administration is set to announce this week that will re-engage with much maligned UN Human Rights Council that former President Donald Trump withdrew from almost 3 years ago, US officials said. The decision reverses another Trump era move away from the multilateral organization and agreement. So that's about the discussion. So you should have a clarity regarding what's the stand of United States of America right now in connection with the United Nations, at the same time United Nations Human Rights Council as such. So that's all for now, and keep a watch on the earlier videos. At the same time, watch this video 1, 2 or 3 times till you will get absolute clarity about each and every area. At the same time, you will be getting the soft copies related to all the discussion, and work out the premium preliminary question papers. And when you work out the premium preliminary question papers and read the soft material and listen to the current affairs, then the work is done. So have an extra edge in your overall preparation. Once again, be productive. Calm version is the most productive version, and do everything in a planned manner. Then only you will be able to complete your work in a systematic fashion. So have a great time. Meet you in the next video. Have a great time once again. Thank you.